The Suzuki S-Presso is one of the most fun cars to drive around the city except for one tiny detail. Well, it used to only come with a manual transmission, which kinda limited its appeal to those people who can roll their own gears. Well, not anymore because we now have the Suzuki S-Presso AGS, which stands for Auto Gear Shift. Now in this video, we will find out if the S-Presso AGS can deliver as much fun as its manual brother, or if you should consider other options. Let's do this. When I reviewed the Suzuki S-Presso, it gave me a surprisingly fun experience for such an affordable car. It came with a 5-speed manual transmission, which was so fun to use, but was also the reason why some people, millennials, couldn't drive it. Well, Suzuki Philippines decided to spread the fun because now the Espresso is equipped with auto gear shift. Of course, the added convenience means a higher price because this Espresso AGS now retails for 660,000 Philippine pesos. Now that price level puts it at the same category as the other basic small city cars, so it begs the question: can the Suzuki Espresso AGS do well at this price level, and more importantly, can it deliver the same levels of fun as the manual trim? Let's find out. Here at Reagan's Rides, we do car reviews of SUVs, sports cars, trucks, and everything in between. So subscribe and hit the bell. Before anything else, let's talk about the AGS transmission. Auto gear shift is an automated manual transmission, so technically the Espresso AGS here is still a manual car, but it does come with an automated clutch. Now, that's why we don't get a park option here if you check out the gear shifter. Instead, we only have a neutral setting, so make sure that you always engage the handbrake every time you park the Suzuki Espresso AGS. So how does it feel to drive? Well, not surprisingly, it's pretty similar to the Suzuki Dzire, which also has an AGS transmission. That means that you can drive it like an automatic by just keeping it in drive, but it's not really the smoothest transmission out there. You see, in drive, you can feel it. You can feel the Espresso AGS whenever it makes an upshift, and yeah, it might be, it might be a shock for you when you're used to, let's say, a CVT or a regular automatic transmission. Now, one of the ways that you can reduce that shift shock is to shift the gears yourself. I mean, just pop it in manual mode and pull down for upshifts, push up for downshifts, which is actually the correct format for these manual mode systems. And you can do that and it would be smoother, especially if you let go of the throttle pedal when you're doing your upshifts. Now, that's pretty hassle-free because you don't really have to press a clutch yourself. Now, if there's no traffic, like now we're on the highway, and it's a nice smooth flow on the highway now, for me, that is actually the best way to go. But whenever you encounter bumper-to-bumper traffic, or let's say you're really tired from work, well, you can just shift back to drive and let the car do the shifting for you. So, guys, for me, that's actually the best of both worlds. Now, as for the drive itself, well, the Espresso AGS drives and handles just like the manual trim, minus some of the fun factor. You see, I had so much fun rowing the gears of the manual Espresso before, and yeah, if you use manual mode on this AGS, well, it's not the same. It's just not the same. Now, as for the engine, we have a reworked K10 engine here, which is codenamed K10C, and it's still a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine that produces 67 PS and 89 Newton meters of torque. Now, it's almost the same power figure as before, as the previous K10B engine, but this engine right here, this K10C, now gets dual jet. I don't even know what that means. It gets dual jet, and it also has a higher compression ratio, which means that we have a higher, top end speed here. And I also noticed that it also accelerates a little bit faster than the previous Espresso with the K10B engine. Now, I don't know what sort of voodoo magic, Suzuki did with this K10C engine, but hey, pare, it worked. It worked. I remember the K10B Suzuki S-Presso. At 105 kilometers per hour, it's really having a hard time. But this K10C engine, yeah, you can go upwards of 110 kilometers per hour, and it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem. Now, the good thing here is this new engine, this reworked engine, also has better fuel economy paired with that AGS transmission. You see, in city drives with the start-stop system engaged, I was able to get as much as 16 kilometers per liter in light city drives. And on the highway, on the highway with a full load of 5 passengers and, just my regular driving, yeah, pare, I still got 25 kilometers per liter on the highway. That's pretty crazy. Now, in case some of you are wondering if this S-Presso AGS can make it up to Baguio, yes, you can go up to mountain cities like Baguio without any problems, but I highly recommend that you use manual mode whenever you're driving around the hilly areas, hilly roads, or if you're going up a steep incline. Now, when it comes to the design, the Suzuki S-Presso AGS is sadly still identical to the manual Espresso. Now, Suzuki Philippines decided to rely on its cute and quirky good looks to carry the Espresso AGS, but for the asking price, well, I'm afraid that might not be enough. You see, we still get halogen headlight units here, we still don't have LED DRLs, and if you're looking for any form of fog lights, halogen or otherwise, well, you're out of luck because, yeah, we still don't get any fog lights. Now, I have to admit, the Espresso AGS still looks fun and cute and quirky, but considering that the other contenders in the category are now giving full LED lighting units, well, I'm afraid that being fun and cute and quirky might no longer be enough in this case. Well, at least we get one convenience upgrade here on the side. You see, the Espresso AGS now has electronically adjustable side mirrors here versus the manual side mirrors found in the manual Espresso and its top contender, which is the Toyota Wigo E CVT. Now, other than that, everything else pretty much remains the same, which means that we still have 14-inch alloy wheels here, and behind those wheels, we have disc brakes up front, we have drum brakes at the back, and for the suspension, it still rides on MacPhersons up front and a torsion beam at the back. Now, the ground clearance is still at 180 millimeters, which is pretty decent for Philippine conditions. And this Espresso AGS being one of the smallest Japanese city cars that you can get, well, it is good and bad at the same time. You see, it's good because you can easily park this car anywhere in the metro, and you can also zip around tight city streets without any issues. It's bad though because, well, prepare to be bullied every time you drive this Espresso out, especially here in SUV crazy Philippines. Now, the cabin has received some notable upgrades here from the previous Espresso that I reviewed. No, we still don't get a tachometer here, so shifting in manual mode will require some shift by feel or shift by ear expertise. Now, the upgrade here would be the infotainment system. You see, while we still have a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system here, well, it's now equipped with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, I'm happy that Suzuki Philippines equipped the Espresso AGS with CarPlay and Android Auto because the competition in the price category also gets that. So at least we are not left behind in that area. However, we still don't have a reverse camera image here though, although we do have some rear parking sensors, and this is a pretty small car, so it's not gonna be a big deal. Now, other than that, well, everything else here remains the same. We still have the same center-mounted speedometer there, this digital speedometer. We have the same hard-touch plastics that you can expect from a budget or value city car. We have a manual air conditioning system here, which is pretty cold. I have to give it that. It's pretty cold considering that this press car doesn't come with any tint. And we also have a pair of cup holders here right in front of your auto gear shift lever, which is the perfect place and Yeah, it's quite it's a good spot actually to park your locally Guyabano Body Batiu and locally Becha by Guava Wow juice drinks. Oh, yeah, perfect place for those cup holders. Another carryover from the previous Espresso is the NVH. Well, being a very light car at 700 kilos worth of curb weight, that means that we don't really get much insulation here. So out on the highway where we are now, yeah, it can get pretty loud when you're driving here to the point that, you know, sometimes I would think that I have an open window at the back. I mean, it's not that loud. It makes me have that kind of impression, you know? It just gets a little bit too noisy inside the cabin. But anyway, to be fair though, the K10C engine that we have here is, yeah, it's actually more refined than the other inline 3 gasoline engines in the category. We also have a delicious engine note whenever you try to accelerate. I'm going to show you now, right? Downshift. See? Ooh, that's a nice engine note that you can hear above the wind noise and the road noise that's coming into the cabin. So yeah, it's it's quite delicious considering the price level and considering the tiny engine that we have here. Sounds pretty good. Now, another thing I love about this Espresso is that, yeah, it doesn't really vibrate as much as the other 3-cylinder city cars out there. So kudos to Suzuki for giving us a strong set of engine supports in this Suzuki S-Presso AGS, plus that well-tuned engine throttle sound. Oh yeah. The safety features though are still the same as before, which means that we still get just 3 stars in the NCAP safety ratings. Well, it's not much, but hey, at least it's an honest safety rating, you know, no need to cheat in that area. Anyway, we still get the same passive safety bits here that you're now seeing on your screen. And yep, when it comes to the back seat, well, I did a review of the Espresso with a manual transmission before, and I was able to show you the back seat there. But it's just the same as before, which means that, yeah, you don't get any amenities there. And when it comes to the absolute space, well, it's best to keep it at just 2 adult passengers tops. The rear end design of the Espresso AGS is pretty much the same as the previous Espresso, which means that we still get halogen C-shaped taillights here and a manual liftgate that you need a key in order to open. Right. So once we pop that open, you will get the same amount of cargo capacity here, which I believe is around 239 liters, which is pretty decent for such a small city car. See, that means that we can take a large piece of luggage here. See, this is pretty large. And you can put it inside. See? And there you go. It can easily accommodate a large piece of luggage. Now, if you need more space than what this area provides, well, you can tumble down the back seat here. See? You can fold it down. That goes all the way down. So yes, and if you're looking for a spare tire, well, you can find a donut spare tire underneath the floorboard of your trunk.
There was a time when buying an Espresso meant that you get a brand new Japanese car at an unbeatable price tag. But with the added convenience of the AGS, plus the effects of inflation, the Suzuki Espresso AGS is now dangerously close to the pricing of its competitors. It's still a strong contender though, especially if you like its quirky good looks plus the fuel savings and engagement of an automated manual transmission. So for those who want a unique ride with a unique driving experience, then the Suzuki Espresso AGS is still a solid choice. Thanks for watching.